Awaited escapely. Today we're going to study Hercules' ninth labor, which is Hippolyta's belt. Now, first thing, just to come out with this, when you look this one up, a lot of times you're going to hear this referred to as Hippolyta's girdle. And the thing is, there's a little bit of, language change going on here. Hippolyta is queen of the Amazons. They're a race of women who are fearsome warriors, one of the most feared militaries of the ancient world. So not only do they fight alone as warriors, but they fight together as soldiers real well. And she has the sword belt that was given to her by Mars himself. She earned it from the war god. Modern stories occasionally confuse this, or stories from an era slightly before our own. Sometimes try to make this some sort of garter or cloth cord, or girdle like the kind that people would wear today. This is not a fashion statement. This is a piece of armor. It is really, really nasty getting hit in the low belly. And that is exactly the area that this is designed to protect. You can also hang swords and other weapons off. In most versions of the story is apparently it's Eurystheus' daughter who wants this particular garment. So Hercules hears from Eurystheus exactly what he has to do. He needs this belt, and he raises up a crew of people to take him to the Amazons by ship. No one's entirely sure exactly where the Amazons are supposed to live, but they always raid this one particular area of coast. So when Hercules sails up there, his plan is to get captured. And I always pose this question to my students. We've seen Hercules with a lot of crazy things at this point so far. How do you think he tries to get the belt from this race of terrible warriors and great fighters? Well, if you've been paying close attention with this, and if you're following the sort of thread of Hercules' thing, maybe this won't be a huge surprise to you. Hercules asks nicely, and Hippolyta is willing to give him the belt. She's heard of Hercules. She likes the idea that he's on a redemption quest. She's pious and respects the gods. And when Hercules says, I'm on a quest from Apollo, he told me to follow the instructions of King Eurystheus, and Eurystheus wants that belt, Hippolyta says, yeah, sure, absolutely. It's a pleasure to see a great hero like Hercules. However, Juno still doesn't want Hercules to get away with things the easy way. So she riles up the rest of the Amazons who get ready to fight, and then they ambush Hercules as he's leaving Hippolyta's chambers with this belt. The story branches off a lot here. In fact, this particular version of the story has tons of different things that go on. Occasionally, in some versions of the story, depending on who's telling it, Theseus is with Hercules on this trip. He's another hero, the guy who was involved with the Minotaur a few labors ago. And there's two ways that the story can go. In some versions, Hercules feels he's been betrayed by Hippolyta, which technically he hasn't. This was Juno riling up all of her subordinates, and he slays Hippolyta and fights his way out. Another version I've seen has Hercules subduing one of the Amazon generals, maybe catching the sword as it goes by, throwing her to the ground as a wrestler, and holding her hostage. Says, I leave her alive if you guys give me the belt. Here's a time when I ask students actually which version of the myth they prefer. There's different interpretations of Hercules, different strengths to his character that we see here, depending on each version. And in any case, Hercules goes home with the belt. He gives it to Eurystheus, who gives it to his daughter, and then Hercules gets ready for another huge labor. Depending on characterization, you can either see Hercules continuing to sort of get away from his anger, or just Hercules showing his martial prowess and strength and, following the rules and getting things done. In either case, though, we see Hercules traveling the world. We see him interacting with barbarian peoples, people who are not Greeks. How civilized the Amazons are is a matter of debate in the ancient world and everything like that. And you have to remember that the Greeks didn't have extremely progressive views on women in any respect. So the Amazons were often treated as weird and different and foreign and sort of lumped in with barbarians all the time anyway. That's it for the ninth labor. Another straightforward, good task. And we'll be back in the next video with the 10th labor of Hercules. Take care.